Hello chaps, welcome to John Robson Guitar Tuition yet again. Now then, if you're a fan of the slightly more exotic sounding style of blues, as played by the likes of Larry Carlton and Robben Ford, then stick around, because not only are you going to find this interesting, I hope, but also probably a lot easier than you might think. Now then, as you could probably tell, that little solo that you just heard contained a little bit more than the usual minor pentatonic blues scale type things that we all know and love. Basically what I'm doing is I'm using a crafty little trick, a cunning plan as Baldrick might say, that I was first shown back in the 1980s. And the really bizarre thing is that I was wasting a bit of time the other day skiving basically on YouTube, just clicking on different videos here and there, and came across a Paul Gilbert video where he showed exactly the same thing. So I don't know, maybe he put it in a guitar magazine way back then in 85 or 86, back when I was first shown it, and the friend of mine who showed me it had seen this kind of thing in print. I don't know, I don't really care. Before we get into the specifics of this little trick, let's take a look at the chord sequence we're going to be using. As you would expect, a pretty standard 12-bar blues in the key of E, based on the 1, 4 and 5 chords, as is the way with blues. 1 chord is E7, 4 chord is A7, and 5 chord is B7. And this little trick we're going to be using relies on us doing different things over each of those 3 chords. Here's what I'm talking about. Okay then, this is the E minor pentatonic scale, which is a good scale choice to use over any blues chord sequence in E. And that means that if you get lost during any of the little moves that we're going to be carrying out in this exercise, you can always go back to this scale as a kind of safety net and get your bearings once again. But let's have a look at how we can modify it to make things sound just that little bit more exotic and interesting. Well, the first thing we're going to do is when we go to the 4 chord, which in this case would be the A7, we're going to move this scale shape down 3 frets, so it's now based at the 9th fret. Then what you do is you take this G sharp note and move it down 1 fret so it becomes a G. And that then gives you an ideal scale to use over the A7 chord. Going back to the E minor pentatonic again, we now need to know what we can do over the 5 chord, which in this chord sequence is the B7. Well, what we're going to do is not move the scale this time, we're just going to alter one of the notes, and that's the root note. We're going to take the E note and move it down 1 fret so that it becomes a D sharp. and that gives you an ideal little scale to use over the B7 or 5 chord. And here I am demonstrating those scales over the backing track. Next up we have another little solo where I go twice through the 12-bar chord sequence. The first time through I use just the regular minor pentatonic blues scale type licks that we all use all the time. And on the second time through I start doing these scale tricks that we've been discussing, just so you can hear the difference that they make. Here it is. So there you have it, a really, I think, useful little trick for making your blues lead guitar playing sound just that little bit more exotic. And obviously if you have a good command of the pentatonic scale along the entire length of the neck, you can kind of break out of that first position box kind of shape that I was doing all of the majority of the demonstrating within. And if you need some help with the pentatonic scale in that way, then check out the other videos that I've put up on that very topic. Or if you live on Teesside, then give me a shout via the details at the end of this video for some tailored one-to-one guitar tuition, and your first lesson is free, by the way. Also, I'll just take this opportunity to plug my new album called The Whiskey Made Me Do It. It's available right now on Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all of the usual places basically, and it's full of bluesy, rock, shreddy, melodic guitar playing. I'm sure you're going to love it, so check it out. And with that, I'll say goodbye for now, and just remind you that if you've enjoyed this video, then please hit the subscribe button. That way you'll get to see more of them. Take care folks, bye for now.